The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Little odd, a little trying to work out the problems. And I'm CJ.
2015.
There we go. We can hear you now.
Welcome to our final show of 2015.
Yes, we had a little bit of technical difficulty in the studio.
That's okay. It's a live show. You know, they have to suffer some of the problems of having a live show. We can't correct it and show a perfectly clean tape show. You know, that's like life. It gets a little messy sometime, but you have to do it. It's kind of like, politics. But you know, we had a pretty good 2015, CJ. I mean, we never run out of news, and I don't know. We should have a contest with our listeners and viewers and see what issue in 2015 they felt was the biggest issue that we talked about here.
How much you want to make a bet it's trash?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like I said, I guess it matters. It's about perspective. You know, it's. I'm sure a lot of people felt that probably the biggest story was the attempt to raise funds clandestinely for Meg Mayo Brown. And to be able to document that with something in writing was a pretty big story, I think. But.
Yeah, you know, and the thing I find very interesting is, you know, we broke that story, and the mainstream media that Fall River has, being the Herald News and of course WSAR, did not carry this. They didn't discuss it. Didn't go anywhere. They didn't want to talk about it. But you know what? We did. And people were infuriated that we actually were the only ones talking about it. And they looked to the Herald News, they looked to WSAR for information to be presented to them honestly. But we know that sometimes, because they're a commercial endeavor, that information is going to be cleaned up. Only bits and pieces are going to come out. And we know that. That's just the nature of their business. We aren't a commercial endeavor. We're a nonprofit. We don't make money on this. We don't sell ads. We're not worried about pissing off a politician or pissing off a mayor. We say it like it is, and if you don't like it, lump it. That's the way the world is. But you know, it's very interesting to see how, as this year is wrapping up, already the political machinations have already started for the new term, which starts next Monday. Which, by the way, we will be broadcasting live after the inauguration next Monday. The inauguration is at 10 a.m. It will be broadcast live on FRG TV, Channel 18, and FRC Media, Channel 95. We will follow that inauguration with our show, and we'll do some commentaries probably on the speech for the projections from the new mayor, or as he's been dubbed by people in the media, the boy emperor. And it gets to be very interesting to see how these machinations are already starting. People haven't even taken their seats yet. They're not even sworn in. And they're already doing things to make things happen. You know, I have a problem with that in one way, and in another I don't, because we know how it works out. But let's talk about this inauguration a little bit, Chip. The inauguration, you have to get tickets for. There is going to be a section of the Nagel Auditorium at Durfee High School, which is going to be blocked off for people who hold tickets. This was done at the mayor-elect's request. There will be some general public seats, which will be standing room only, probably. But again, you need tickets. Now, the inaugural ball, or gala, is going to be held at the Venus de Milo at 6 o'clock. And It is going to be a plated dinner. The tickets are free, but you have to have a ticket. Now, you also have to understand that this is a formal. You can't go in a suit, you can't go in a tie, you can't go in jeans and a t-shirt. You have to go in a tuxedo if you're a man, and you have to go in a formal gown if you're a woman. And if you don't have one, go out and buy it, or go out and rent it.
Do they make gowns in flannel? I just thought I'd throw that in there.
I think that's funny. But according to Jen Andrade, who was the mayor-elect's campaign manager and still seems to have a lot of work that she is doing within the administration or the future administration, said that they have cut deals with Slade's Formal to rent tuxedos, and they've cut deals with Alexandra's Dresses, I guess, for 20% off. And that's great. They're using local vendors, but on a city that can't afford 59 cents for a trash bag, how are they going to afford $59 for a tuxedo? And here was the rationale that I got from Jen on this. I want it to be glorious. I want it to be so positive. I want it to show people that Fall River is a beautiful place. That is not, yeah, exactly. That's not even a snapshot of Fall River. Okay? And I told her yesterday, I said, look, if I hear one more person say, we got to maintain some positivity, you got to be positive, I'm going to hit him in the face with a frying pan, because this is just ridiculous with this positivity stuff.
Well, you know, we talked about this before, actually on the last show, and I think it's extremely important because, you know, it just goes to show we continue the madness, because the fact is that, look, as I said, look, this is not positive or negative. Those are the wrong terms to apply. It's not half full or half empty. You know, this is a city in trouble, a city in dire trouble. I mean, the poorest city in the state of Massachusetts now, by the last figures released by the state.
351 out of 351.
And we got that way because of this crap, this constant propaganda that tries to make everybody not look at the reality, including the people who run the city. So how are we going to fix a problem? It's like trying to fix. It's like trying to fix a problem without acknowledging the problem. Well, if you don't acknowledge the problem, you're not even going to attempt to fix it. And this is the reason that we get all these dead-end kind of solutions, because nobody wants to look at the reality. You know, this is a blue-collar city. You know, I'm not going to wear a tuxedo. I don't care. And there will be 500 or so people that will scrape up the money because they're looking for something. And I'll bet you half of those people are administrators and people that are not, that don't even live in this city, and they'll be at the gala, or the whatever they want, euphemistic title they put it on. But look, let's look at reality here. And I know that you had a conversation, and this positive propaganda continues to now this administration is already beginning with, we have to, you know, we're justifying everything. Oh, we need the doors on the law department to look professional for people. We need to make the 6th floor show the character of the current mayor. No, we don't. No, we don't. That's the government center. It's a place of business. It's the office of the mayor. And what's important is the business that the mayor does within those 4 walls. Not what color paint we have, or what kind of drapes they have on the windows, or what color towels with monograms on them in the shower. It's about business. And that crap about the doers and the lawyers is absurd. I'm going to read.
But we heard that crap about the doors.
Yeah, but it's
before.
But they're revisiting it.
Oh, well, we revisit everything.
But CJ, I got to say this because, you know, I'm gonna read Goebbels' quote again, and I read it at the city council. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it, and the lie can be maintained only for such a time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic, and/or military consequences of the lie. It thus becomes vitally important, listen to this last part, it becomes vitally important for the state or the city to use all of its power to repress dissent by calling everybody who dissents negative, and for the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus by extension the truth is the greatest enemy of the state or the city. This is why we're doing this show, because we're not running for political office. We're not BSing. We live in this city. We pay taxes. We walk the streets. We go to the restaurants, unlike most of the people who are talking about being positive and they're always in Providence eating or Seekonk eating or someplace else eating. The fact is, it doesn't matter if you run your law office out of the trunk of your car. If you win every case, they're going to be beating down your door. Your phone's going to be ringing off the hook. You don't need fancy glass doors. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, Lincoln Lawyer, or read the book by Michael Connelly about the lawyer who operated out of the trunk of his car, but he was very successful. You know something? If we make this city into a city where people want to come, do you think they're going to worry about the interior decor of the city hall? It's an office. It's a center of government. This is not, we're not selling Gucci bags here. We're trying to sell the city of Fall River. And we can't sell the city of Fall River, and we have been unsuccessful in selling the city of Fall River for decades now because of this propaganda and BS. Because the people who run this city continue to say, let's all hold hands and say everything's wonderful, and if we tell the people in this city that enough, they'll believe it, or at least half believe it. You know, you can't hide the truth. That's why we're here, to tell you the truth. I don't care what they say. We just went from second to last in household income. Anybody in their right mind who thinks any business, any really hot business that's going to employ people, is going to come to a city that has virtually no discretionary capital, you have to be nuts. And these city councilors, let's see what they do. Let's see if somebody looks. How often are we going to, you know, we're going to, now the talk, we're going to get rid of the trash collection fee, but they're going to get it in another way. They need the money. But you know something? This baloney of positive and negative, you know, that's horse manure. The fact is, this is not a positive or a negative issue. Those are absolutely the wrong adjectives to use on what this is doing. This is the business. And we are the people who fund this business. And just like the people who are stockholders, we should have a say. And just like the stockholders, I'm interested in the bottom line. And that bottom line is fire protection, police protection, education, services rendered to the people, not big government and jobs for cronies and part-time jobs. And we have to hold them accountable, because now this is the beginning again, it looks like, of another propaganda wave, because they're all going to sit there at the inauguration and hold hands and sing Kumbaya and say how everything's wonderful if we all agree. Well, you know something? Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, God, you're bringing tears to my eyes. Shut it off, please. No.
I get prepped for this stuff, Chip. I get prepped for it. You know that.
But you know, we got to put this aside. We got to remember one thing. There were nearly, you know, duels and fist fights when this nation was created. There were people who stood up at meetings and called the people who wanted to create the United States traitors and wanted them executed.
Today we would call them terrorists.
Terrorists, that's right. We were called terrorists.
I know.
And the people who began this nation were called terrorists, as with everybody who starts a new nation, because the nation you're trying to leave is going to call you a terrorist. And the bottom line is, if you win, you write the history. If we would have lost the Revolutionary War and we were still British, all those people would have been, Benedict Arnold would have been a hero. And Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and Benjamin Franklin would have all been executed as terrorists and traitors. So, it's not about that. It's not about that, because the reality is, listen, it's just like war. War doesn't prove who's right. It only proves who's left after the war. And the people who were left write the history. And the fact is that in this city, this city was different 25 years ago because the people in this city didn't listen to the crap. They paid attention to what was going on. And we've got to get that. We've begun to do that on the mayoral level, and we have to do it on every level: city council, school committee, performance, not adjectives, not positivity or negativity. It's either working or it's not working. We either have a performing school system or we don't. We either have a good economy or we don't. And those questions are in the negative. So let's start the new year by not believing the crap. And I don't care how many people are dancing, the Viennese waltz at the gala. This is a blue-collar city. We've got to rebuild it brick by brick, and that's not being negative. That's being practical. And we should have a no-frills office and government center, a place that you go in, it's clean, it's neat, and you get the job done. That's what's important, not window dressing. Because, many, many years ago, my mother told me, you may not be able to afford the best clothes, but if you wash your clothes and wear clean clothes, that's what you can do. You don't have to look like a bum, even if you're wearing older clothes. The fact is, this city is not Newton. We don't have a population where 75% of the people have bachelor's degrees and are making over $100,000 a year. We need to look at reality and change the direction we're going. And the first step in that is not a program. It's not some panacea that they come up with. It's for the people of the city of Fall River to stop believing this crap. Because as I kept saying, and I'm going to say it and turn it over to you because that's it. Because they want everybody to agree and march in lockstep. And since I started with Goebbels, I'll end with another one from that era. The last time everybody marched in lockstep, they were doing the goose step.
Well, interestingly enough, you have a message.
The positive feeling, to negative.
I guess Bing Crosby and the Andrews Sisters wanted to make sure you knew what was going on.
Yeah. Isn't it one? If life was only a movie. If life was only a movie.
But it's interesting because Mark Dion said a few things in his column earlier this week that was very interesting because, like he said, is the new mayor going to now put together more commissions? We're going to, and he, jokingly said, the Charter Commission came in, spent $40,000 right away on hiring a consultant to basically print out some boilerplate charter. And the funny thing is that they said, no, we're going to just change parts of the charter. Now they find out they don't get that option. They're just going to do a whole new charter. But that was $40,000. And how much more money are they going to spend between now and the next election? But is the new mayor going to appoint say, oh, well, we have a drug problem, so we're going to appoint a heroin czar, okay? And then we're going to create an addiction commission. And, and that was said jokingly, but maybe not so jokingly because we're already seeing it happen. We're seeing these things happen. They don't care. You know why? Because government does what, Chip? They love to spend my money. That's right. My money.
That's right. They love to spend our money. And if it was their money, they'd be working out of the trunk of their car.
Right.
But it's our money, so they need to renovate an office that was renovated 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, and you know, this is just getting to be so ridiculous. Now, in my meeting with the Korea people to pick up the tickets for the formal, and I told them that I would not be able to be at the inauguration because I'm going to be here at the control center, and we're going to be waiting to go online. And I thought it was very interesting because I said, you know, you got to realize, and one of the people who was there to verify this sat there, and they said, well, Jaisal does plan to get rid of the sanitation fee. I said, well, that's good. I said, but the people don't want the bag fee either. Oh, no, he's always stood by the fact that he likes the bags. So we're going to stick with the bags because we need those. But we're going to get rid of the sanitation fee. I said, and then how are you going to enforce the bags? Well, we have a law. We need to enforce it. So we're going to step up enforcement. I said, turn to the person who was sitting there. His name was Celio Chavs, otherwise known as the Christmas elf this year. And I said, Celio, what are the people going to do if they start enforcing the trash bag fees? And they start taking this to court and issuing fines. He goes, there's going to be an uprising. I said, there you go. So again, hey, Mr. Mayor-elect, understand something. The people of Fall River, contrary to the line of propaganda that is being spewed by your consultants or people, do not want trash bags and do not want sanitation fees. So get rid of them both, because if you keep one, i.e. the bags, you are going to have an uprising. The people don't want the bags. We're last in this state in income. We're last in this state in economic development. And they can't scrape together 50 cents for a bag, never mind a $100 fine or a $250 fine or a $300 fine or whatever fine you want to assess. So guess what? Go ahead, step up your enforcement, and watch the uprising. Because if you fail to learn from history, Mr. Mayor-elect, remember, Mayor number 1 went bye-bye for purple bags. You didn't learn from that? You should. You voted for all of this stuff. You voted for a lot of the things that caused the problem that you're now going to fix. Then Mayor number 2 went because he instituted a $10 fee. So guess what? $10 fee and bags are not an option. Your option for those is to eradicate them. You want to find money, stop cutting some of the heads off the departments. Get rid of the assistant heads. Get rid of all the supervisors. Start demoting people in police and fire. We don't have a force that requires all those people. You're not firing them. They still keep their jobs. Their pensions won't be affected because they've had those jobs at higher pays for the greater period of time. So guess what? They'll still have a job, but we don't need to be paying 10 chiefs for one Indian. It doesn't work that way. That's business. You went to school for this, Mr. Mayor-elect. You know this. Do it. Don't play games.
Oh, CJ, come on. Geez, you're talking sense here.
I know.
We can't do that in the city of Florida. Well, the first thing I got to address is something you said, and we talked about the Charter Commission. Now we got an out-of-towner telling us what we have to do with the charter.
Of course,
revision.
because we can't do it.
I mean, now all of a sudden we have to do the whole charter because he said so?
Yeah.
We can't do what we want? Well, why did we elect these people? There's only one person on that Charter Commission who had the courage to vote against that, consultant, and kudos to Dan Robillard, because he had enough courage to say, look, I'm not going to pay this money. I was elected, and I want to do my job. And those other people want somebody else to do their job. So why did you run? If you truly didn't have an interest in doing what the people of Fall River want, and you got elected because you're supposedly a resident of Fall River, and now you're going to hire some outside political hack who's done it in 15 other cities, who works for another state organization, and you're going to let him tell you how to do our charter? Baloney. There should be a recall on you people. I hate to say that, but because you know what you're going to do? You're going to destroy any attempt at ever fixing this charter, because the fact is people won't even bother anymore. Because why? If I would have known this was going to happen, I would have never voted for the charter change. Because I voted for the charter change because I wanted Fall River people to change the Fall River charter. Not some clown to come in and give you a boilerplate and do what he did in 15 other cities and towns and make a few dollars.
Well, you know, the funny
Because
thing
it's
is,
not rocket science, number one. And, you know, and number two, before I, you know, like I said, you know, we all know the government has grown this way. We've got too many chiefs, not enough Indians. It's been decades since we've had any administrators or jobs not created on the administrative level. So let's do that. And like I said, this is ridiculous, and you're 100% right, CJ. But talking sense in Fall River, you're breaking the positive cycle.
yeah, I know. It's, you know, the men in the white jackets are outside. They want to take me away right now. You're talking sense. You must be insane. But, you know, it's just very interesting to see that the people of Fall River, and this is what politicians depend on, their memory is so brief. They don't remember. And that's why you get Linda Pereira and Ray Mitchell reelected, okay? Because they forget. They forget. And they personalize all of this. This isn't personal. This is business. Like it or not, people, this is a business. And if you are a Fortune 500 company and your people aren't doing the job, they're fired. If they're not necessary, the job is eliminated and the person either gets demoted or gets transferred to a different job. But we don't do that in Fall River. Instead, we create the position in ordinance, and even though you fought against that position, you approve, you know, they approve the ordinance and the position gets placed, first thing you do is you put somebody in that job, and then you say, oh, well, he's an asset to this campaign and to this administration.
Well,
give me a break.
No, you're right. But, you know, let's face it. Everything in the city defies logic, and I believe that people don't look at the city council. They listen to their propaganda that they can't do anything because we got a strong mayor, but they can. They don't have to fund those jobs. They don't have to. The reality is, let's look at this from a logical standpoint. If the voters of the city of Fall River were really paying attention to the city council, and they were unhappy with what they did, Linda Pereira and Ray Mitchell should not have gotten reelected.
That's right.
They got rid of Danny Rigo, and those three marched in lockstep for the entire year that Sam Sutter. They were the three people who did the most for Sam Sutter's campaign. Ray Mitchell was in City Hall from morning till night every day that Sutter was in office. And the fact is, he barely got in, but he got in. Danny Rigo's out. So if you took logic and said people were voting on issues for city council rather than personalities, the three of them should have been booted. Or the three of them should have stayed in if people were happy with their performance. But obviously they weren't that happy. Ray almost got knocked out, and Danny did get knocked out. But of course Linda, because Linda's got, you know, a personality, people vote on personality. And as you said, I like Linda personally, but as far as I'm concerned, you know, her attitude of I have to be loyal or I have to do things that I don't like because I have to. You don't have to do anything. If it's not in the best interest of the taxpayers of the city of Fall River, it's absolute bullshit for you to say that you had to do something that wasn't in the best interest of the people that you were elected to represent.
Well, you know, Chip, and we go through this all the time, and it's not worth beating a dead horse anymore. But
it is, because remember what Winston Churchill said: if you want to make a point, you pound it and pound it and pound it and pound it until it finally gets through their skulls.
Yep. Well, this is the last show for 2015. It's been a great year, and after the first of the year, we will have, at one point, a special for the Spindle City Honorary Iconoclast Trophies, and they will be awarded. So, have a happy new year. Please drive safely. Stay angry, and if you go out and rent a tuxedo, please remember to tell the mayor, the then new mayor, hey, give me the $59. I need it more than you do. Happy New Year.
Yeah, have a good one, and stay really angry.
I think, yeah.